Hello everybody, welcome back to Math 1351, Chapter 13. Today we're going to look at Section 2, Area of Polygons and Circles. Alright, let's look at the first one. Choose the most appropriate metric unit, centimeter squared, meter squared, kilometer squared, and English units, inches squared, yard squared, mile squared, for measuring each of the following. Now, why are these squared? Whenever you're talking about areas, an area is base times width. So if I had a rectangular yard, which was 5 yards deep and 10 yards long, 10 times 5 is 50. Yard times yard is yard squared. So that's what we're looking at here. We have two units being multiplied together. Same thing, meters and meters is meter squared. So area of a swimming pool. Would you use meters and inches? No, you would never measure in inches or centimeters. Those are too small. So the only one you could measure swimming pools is yards and meters are about the same. 1 yard is approximately the same as 1 meter. It's 0.2 difference, so it'd be meters and yards squared. The next one, the area of a ceiling tile. Whenever you buy it, ceiling tiles are not the same as the floor tiles. Floor tiles are foot by a foot. Ceiling tiles are smaller than a foot, so we're looking at inches, and inches are the same relatively as centimeters, so it's centimeters and inches. The third one, the size of a quarter. The quarter is pretty big. You wouldn't use yards, you wouldn't use meters and yards, you wouldn't use meters, so it'd have to be centimeters and inches. And then the kitchen table. Kitchen table is pretty large. Would you use centimeters and inches? No. Centimeters? No. Meters? But not inches. So in that one I'd use meters and yards because they're about the same thing. So that's that one. What is the approximate area of a cereal box? Okay, are you going to use meters to measure it? Centimeters or millimeters? When you took a cereal box, you're looking at maybe 11 inches by 8 inches. Inches and centimeters are about the same when it comes to units, so that will be 170 centimeters squared. Okay, here we are again, conversions. Now, the difference between these, they're squared units. It was last time we went from meters to centimeters to millimeters. So 4 meters would be 40 decimeters. It's 400 centimeters and 4,000 millimeters. You move the decimal. Each step you go is another decimal you move over. But remember, when it's squared, you have a vertical and you have a horizontal. So when you go from meters squared to decimeters squared, you have to move one for this one and one for this one. So 4 would become 400. So I have to move it 1 decimal space, 2 decimal spaces. And then to go to centimeters squared, I got to move it 2 more spaces. So now it's going to be 40,000. So every step you go, it's 2 decimal places. Both directions. I mean, if you go from centimeters to decimeters, I have to move it, well, in decimeters, 2 spaces to the left in squares. So, centimeters squares to meter squared. I can move it 4 spaces to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 0.0577. Centimeters to millimeters squared, that's 2 spaces to the right. So it's 57700. 162 millimeters squared. So to go from millimeters squared to centimeters squared, I can move it 2 to the left, so it's 1.62. Yes, I'm going to meter squared, so it's 4 more spaces. So I have 1, and I'm going to have 3 zeros, and then the 162. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty small. So 1.8 meters squared. I have to go to centimeters squared, so it's 4 spaces to the right. 1 is, then another one, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 18,000. And then I got to do 2 more spaces. So it's 1,800,000 meters squared. 100 centimeter squares to meter squared, I have to add 2 more zeros behind it. So it's 10,000. And then from centimeters squared to meter squared, I gotta move it 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 0.0100. I don't have to put those at the end. Okay, so again, it's, if it was cubed, then we move it 3 spaces each step. 3 spaces each step. Again, that's the beauty of metric systems. We should all be using metrics instead of this other stuff that we're using. All right. Find the area. Remember, the formula for an area is base times height. Since this is a square, all 4 sides are the same. The area, so it's 5 times 5 is 25 centimeters squared. And this one, base times height, 17 times 4, 4 times 7 is 28, 68, again, it's centimeters squared. That's what I think this is all about here. All right, now a parallelogram. The interesting about parallelogram is if we took this little triangle here, it would fit right here. So that means the length here would still be 6, and the height is 5. So 6 times 5 is 30. And there's centimeters, so it's centimeters squared. Okay, now this one a trapezoid requires a little bit more work. Because if we look at the trapezoid, we put a vertical line right here. This is 8, that's 8. Now, this one says 10, so this part here is 8, because we went straight down. That means that's 2. So the area of this box is 8 times 5 is 40 centimeters squared. That's the area of this. Now we're going to find the area of this part. This is half a rectangle. If we drew the rectangle, remember we're looking for the half part of it. We know it's 5 units high and 2 centimeters wide. All we want is half of it. So 5 times 2 is 10, divided by 2 is 5 centimeters squared. That's this one, 5 centimeters squared. So we have this plus this is 45 centimeters squared. So far so good. Joe uses stick-on square carpet tiles to cover his 3 meters times 2 meter bathroom. That's how big his bathroom is. It's 6 feet by 9 feet about. If each tile is 10 centimeters on each side, so it's a small tile of 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. How many tiles does he need? Well, that's meters, this is centimeters. So we have to get it in the same units. It's easier, so we don't use with decimals. Let's go ahead and let's convert 3 meters into centimeters. Remember, it's meters to decimeters to centimeters. So we have to move it 2 spaces over. 1, 2. So it's 300 centimeters times 200 centimeters. So the area of the bathroom, 3 times 2 is 6. This is the area of the bathroom. 3 times 2 is 6 with 4 zeros. It's 60,000 centimeters. Now, each tile, the area of each tile is 10 times 10, which is 100 centimeters squared. So how many of these, this is the tiles, how many of these fit inside here? We divide them. 60,000 centimeters squared divided by 100 centimeters squared. But remember, all we want is how many. We want just numbers. So the units cancel. There's a 0. That's a 0 cancels. So 600. We're going to have 600 tiles. Alright, that's it for that one. Good luck, everybody.